their first game releasing in 1997, the Pokemon series has been consistently releasing games throughout the past couple decades, with their most recent entry being in 2022 and a new mainline title on the horizons of late 2025. Throughout the 20 plus different games throughout multiple decades, we've seen a lot of player characters come and go, all with their own unique fashion sensibilities and influences that are extremely pertinent to their own respective eras. We are going to take a look at all of the mainline Pokemon games and discuss the fashion and character designs of the player trainers and decide whether they deserve a victory or if they're looking a little bit more defeated. My rankings are gonna be based off the general harmony of the composition of the design. So this includes color, flow, shape, and the general vibes that are being portrayed and how successful or unsuccessful I feel like the design is in all of this. And my analysis, of course, will be affected by my subjective opinions. I try to view the designs as objectively as possible, but when it comes to fashion, there is always going to be disagreements and questions of taste. But on the other hand, there are also generally aspects of fashion that are widely accepted as good or bad looking. But at the end of the day, it is inevitable that everything we all look at will be affected by our own taste. By the way, while we talk about all of the player character designs, I'm going to be taking a look at all of them on my side screen over here. First up is the very first Pokemon games, Red, Green, and Yellow, Blue, with the player character Red. So in this first game, we only have an option of playing the one character Red, but in later titles, it was introduced that we had an option between a female and a male player character, but right now we only have Red. I really like Red's baggy jeans. They feel really reminiscent of 80s and 90s styles, like Levi jeans, especially like 501 jeans that were very popular culturally. And it just reflects this culture of casual wear that's like a little bit sporty, but also a little bit like structured and put together. His jeans are very straight and structured and look like a heavyweight cotton denim, which is very reflective of the period the game was released in. I want to mention the cool ankle cuffs that he has on his shoes that cuff hit the bottom of his jeans. They feel really practical and I love that detail. It feels like something definitely a Pokemon trainer that would be adventuring and being outside a lot would need. There's this really good balance of sporty activewear and also kind of like casual everyday wear that they did with Red's design. And I think it's really great. I think it just has good vibes in general. And continuing with the practical vibe of this outfit, he has this sporty fishing vest, which is of course very fashionable, but also very practical for what the character's needs are. And the color coordination is really on point. They have the red and white matching hat with his vest and his shoes, and then the pops of blue with his pants, and then some black with his shirt, which are of course the classic Pokemon trainer colors. This outfit I would consider as something stylishly simple. It still looks great, but it's not overdoing anything. It looks great, it's also practical, and because of this, I think that Red deserves a clear victory. Next up, with LeafGreen and FireRed, is also another iteration of our main character, Red. I don't think that this is a bad design by any means, just personally nothing really stands out to me. It has a very simple primary color palette of red, blue, and yellow, and I really like this use of primary colors because at the end of the day, Pokemon is technically a kids game, even though people of all ages can enjoy it and do enjoy it. I feel like this inclusion of the primary colors in the designs of the trainers feels elementary and very simple and easy to appreciate, and obviously it will look good in a very simple and elementary way. It's a really simple design, but it has an incredibly strong foundation because primary colors are always going to look good together, and this just feels really suited for a character and game series that everybody of all ages can enjoy. I feel like this version of Red in FireRed and LeafGreen is a little bit more serious. Before, he felt a little bit more youthful. His vest was unzippered and it was loose and baggy and a little bit oversized, but now his clothes are a lot more form-fitting. His vest is zippered up And overall, he has a little bit more of a serious aura. Even though I feel like this design is nothing really special, I will give this red a victory just because it's not bad at all and it just feels like it built upon his initial design, which I think is really good. I don't think that there's anything really here to make him deserving of the defeated status, so I am going to give him a victory. Now introduced to the concept of being able to pick between a male and female player trainer, we are introduced to Leaf, which is our female character for FireRed and LeafGreen. I think that Leaf has a lot more style than Red, honestly. The black detailing on the collar and bottom hem of her shirt is really stylish, and I just really like that detail. It feels like real clothing. I think it's really easy to fall into the trap of really simple clothing pieces when you're trying to make very simple and likable characters. But I really appreciate the flair that Leaf has in her design, and she really feels like she's wearing real clothes. She has these really fun leg warmers that match the color of her top, and in general, I think her outfit has really great color coordination, especially between her shoes and her blouse. I really like how they use the same colors throughout the whole design, but the way that they place the colors makes everything feel not too matchy, but also matchy in the same way. Like the colors don't feel too redundant or overused. Everything feels like it was used in the right place. It just looks really cohesive and successful. Compared to Red's cap, which is of course the classic Pokemon trainer cap, I really like Leaf's hat. It's a mix between a bucket and a boater hat, and I think it achieves this perfect mix between casual but still stylish at the same time. Because of all of this, I think that Leaf deserves a clear victory. Next up from Gold and Silver is Ethan. So I think that this particular shade of yellow with black looks amazing. I don't know why they never really did this much afterwards. I feel like this kind of shade of yellow was not really used so much in the future. They did do yellow and black combinations, definitely, but this shade of yellow just is special. The pop of red on his shoes tying in with his jacket just looks so cohesive. Again, I love the use of color, and not only just the colors that they use, but where they place them just feels so successful, so cohesive, and flows really nicely. The details of his shoes and jacket add a lot of style points to this for me. I really appreciate like the buckles and the construction of his shoes and the layering of the pieces. Again, they feel like real clothing. They don't feel too simple, but they also don't feel too complex. And I feel like they put attention to detail where it matters. Compared to the usual red and white hats, I really like the black and yellow hat here used as well, and how it directly matches with his shorts. Ethan really reflects the style sensibilities of the late 90s and early 2000s with his long baggy shorts and his detailed shoes. A lot of shoes from this time period were really into like wings and layering and different eyelets and lacing patterns and kind of high-rise, high-cut shoes on the ankle. And his cap is also on backwards, which reflects the skater mentality and culture that was really popular at this time. Ethan definitely is a clear victory. And then in Crystal, we see Ethan again, and he has the same design as he did in Gold and Silver, so it is obviously an easy victory. And then the female trainer in Crystal is Kris. The inclusion of Kris is really interesting. She is very different than Ethan and very different than everything that we've seen in the series thus far. Starting off on top, first of all, her crop jacket is one of my favorite things in all of designs of all the trainers. And then going down to her super cool shoes, I really love the layered and futuristic construction of them. They're very smooth but layered at the same time, and I just think they're one of the most interesting and well-designed shoes of all the trainers as well. I'm just gonna let you know now that I am going to give her a victory. Compared to the male characters, I'm really happy that they gave Kris a feminine charm. Her shorts are very similar to Ethan's, except they are more of a tight biker short, and they overall give her a more feminine silhouette, especially with her tight-fitted turtleneck and her crop jacket. And I feel like it's just feminine in all the right ways. It is still incredibly practical for somebody who is active and adventuring and Pokemon battling, but at the same time, it still has that girly flavor and feminine feel to it. So I am going to give her the victory. My one gripe with this design is that I wish that her bag straps were black like Ethan's. I feel like it would have made them feel a little bit more connected because I do feel a little bit of dissonance between Ethan and Kris. I think it would have just balanced the outfit a little bit more, and it wouldn't make her shorts feel so much like out of nowhere. Because with Ethan, his shorts matched his hat, but here Kris kind of just has like a little like cap bandana thing that does match her shorts, but it's not so visible. So I feel like there is a little bit a lack of connection there. I do admit that maybe turning her bag black would look a little stark. I'm not really sure, but something does feel like it's missing here and something else needed to be either black or yellow or both here. But I am still going to give her the victory because I think this outfit looks amazing. In HeartGold and SoulSilver, we meet the last iteration of Ethan, and this time he has a lot less yellow in his design and it is featured only on his cap. I don't really like his capris, but the adjustable bands on the bottom hem are cool, so I will give it that. It kind of reminds me of the shoe straps on Red in the first game. I don't really like his capris. I will admit that the adjustable bands on the bottom hem are cool and they have a good balance between active practical wear and also casual because they're capris and kind of cottony denim-y. But I don't know, I just don't really like the way that they look. And I feel like he needs some socks with those shoes. It just feels like sticky, like he's probably wearing short socks, but I don't really know if I like the way that that feels or looks personally. Overall, this design is just kind of like meh. Don't get me wrong, his outfit is very cohesive in color and shape, and it has a really good flow from going from skinny, tight-fitted to some more bigger elements like with his capris and the cuffs on his sweater. But I just don't really like the individual pieces. So I do believe that we are giving Ethan the defeated status for this design. It just doesn't really do it for me personally. I just don't think that it's very stylish. It's kind of like normie core, but like in a bad way. I think they took fashion trends that are very average and tried to make a character with those trends. But just the problem is that it's a little bit too average, that it feels too normal. I don't know. I don't think it's conveying maybe what they wanted it to. It doesn't feel very cool. It feels a little bit too casual and a little bit too normie. Like when I play a video game, I want the characters to be interesting and adventurous and I don't know, just like cool. And I feel like Ethan in this game doesn't particularly feel cool enough. I don't know. But then we have our female trainer, Lyra. So I do kind of mourn the loss of Kris just a little bit. She was really cool and I wish we got to see a little bit more of her. But Lyra is really cool and she might honestly be one of my favorite trainers. She is wearing these super cute underbust overalls, which are such a statement and they're super fashionable. And she pairs them with these thigh-high socks that feel very chic and girly, but still also active and sporty at the same time somehow. With Lyra, they were able to achieve this really great and successful balance between fashionable and active. Moving up to her sweater, I love the cutout on the neckline, and it reminds me a lot of the designs on the hems of Leaf's blouse. And her baker's cap is such a breath of fresh air, and it is so uniquely cute in her own way. I just love it. I think it looks so good. Both being very simple and sleek, the bow on her hat matches the vibe of her shoes and the color of her sweater. And overall, it just looks so good. At the same time, it feels both simple and also complex, which for me just feels like a hallmark of a really great design. I don't feel overwhelmed looking at her, but at the same time, I feel visually stimulated and intrigued about what she is wearing. Like if I was a Pokemon trainer, I would definitely wear Lyra's outfit piece for piece. I think it's so good. So Lyra is of course a victory. The next game is Ruby Sapphire with Brendan. I really like Brendan's vibes as a character, but this one just doesn't really do it for me. Personally, I am not really a fan of him basically just wearing a tracksuit, essentially. I do really like his gloves and his unique hat, but everything else is just kind of alright. To talk about his hat for a moment, I feel super bamboozled. Maybe this plays a role in why I don't like this design, but I was always in the impression that the white part was his hair. But we're gonna see later on that this is not the case. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, when we look at his other designs, you will see what I am saying. And I really dislike how his pants are tucked into his socks. Like, ugh. I hate to do this, but as you can probably tell, I am going to have to give this Brendan the defeated status. Honestly, I'm kind of on the fence about it. I do really like his jacket and his like the collar of his jacket with the button. I don't know, it's pretty nice looking. And I also like how it's kind of like a black dominated design. It feels very different, and I think it matches Brendan as a character, whatever we know about him. But ultimately, I do think that the outfit itself is just not as good as some of my other victory recipients. But then on the other hand, May, our female character, looks great. There seems to be a little bit of a trend of the female characters just being a lot more stylish and detailed than the male characters. I do think they rectify this in future entries, but May just looks so much better than Brendan in my opinion. Her form-fitting collared short sleeve sports blouse is really pretty. Like, I don't know what else to say about it other than it just looks feminine in a good way and just really pretty. I feel like we can go really in depth on like why something looks good, but I think right now it's just perfectly acceptable to say that it's just really pretty. In general, her whole design feels this way, but specifically her blouse just feels like a perfect balance between feminine and active. There's this phenomenon, especially in a lot of modern fashion, that somehow active and comfortable and easy to wear has to be synonymous with baggy and unflattering. But the female Pokemon trainers really just shoot down this entire case because they prove that you can look active, sporty, and comfortable, but also serve a good look. I am assuming that the white band around her waist is an undershirt that is covering the top of her biker shorts. Compared to Kris's biker shorts, I feel like this is a little bit more wearable and modest for a younger audience as well. Not to mention that I think the elongated silhouette that this creates is very stylish and fashionable as well. I am just reminded of cyclist fashion in the most girly and successful way possible, so May's design definitely earns her the victory. Next up in Emerald, we meet Brendan yet again, and again, I struggled to rank him. The active shirt zip-up vest kind of piece that he's wearing reminds me of a male version of May's blouse that we just looked at previously, and I really like the use of shapes and color blocks to add visual interest to this piece. I have a love-hate relationship with the shorts over sweats look, so I don't really know how I feel about that part of the design. The green, black, orange, red persimmon color combo is one of my favorites, and I think it objectively just looks really great. But unfortunately, they never really did this color combo again for some reason. I am going to be nice with this one, and I am going to give Brendan the victory. Instead of a fully black tracksuit like how we first met him, they incorporated gray into this design to contrast with the black. And this is a really successful use of color. While I'm kind of on the fence about the clothing choices here, I do think that this might just be an example of my personal taste. Ultimately, in the end, I don't think that anything went horribly wrong with this design. I'm just gonna say it right off the bat, Emerald May is an easy victory. Like I said with the past couple female designs, I absolutely love when they give a character something sporty yet still stylish. And we see exactly this in May's long shirt dress piece. This piece feels very thoughtfully designed. I especially love how the black collar matches with her socks, shorts, and her gloves, and the pockets are definitely the highlight of the entire outfit. Similarly with Brendan, the way that they use the black, green, and persimmon red orange color is amazing. I love where they chose to put each color. It makes everything just flow awesomely, like the white of her gloves matching her pockets and her zipper, and some details on her shoes and her hat. Well, I guess it's not really a hat, it's more of a bandana, but you get the point. The longer silhouette of her blouse ties in with her ruby sapphire design, where her biker shorts were also covered by her blouse, and I feel like this detail is especially cohesive for her. I would really love to see this accessorizing and attention to detail that we see with the female characters and more of the male characters as well. Brendan in OmegaRuby AlphaSapphire has completely different vibes. I mentioned this in Ruby Sapphire, and I think that you can kind of notice it in Emerald, but you can see it in full force here, what I was talking about with his hat. I was always under the impression that Brendan's hair was white and that he was wearing a bandana, but I see that this is definitely not the case. I realize now that he doesn't have white hair, he's just wearing a very peculiar beanie slouch kind of hat. You can see his sideburns peeking out from under this hat, and it makes me so uncomfortable. It just like breaks the entire concept I had of him. I just can't get over that. On a similar note, I feel like this version of Brendan lost a lot of his stylistic edge, and I truly mourn that. Previously, I discussed how I really like the Ruby Sapphire cyclist vibe that May's outfit had, but I feel like Brendan feels like too cyclist inspired here in a negative way. In my own personal interpretation of Pokemon trainers, I feel like this just looks way too sporty in my opinion. I don't think it's a bad outfit at all, I just feel like it doesn't really fit. With this case that I've built up against Brendan, I am going to have to give him defeated. His fashion choices don't really say Pokemon trainer to me, they kind of just say cyclist, active, sporty person, which I understand could fit the theme of the game, but I just wish they would have made it a little bit more like a trainer and not just like a exercise outfit. And then with May, I really wanted to give her the victory, but I actually think this is kind of a defeat in a lot of ways. I love, love, love her tank top over tank top layering. It is so cute, don't get me wrong. But everything else doesn't really feel like it matches this same kind of design identity in a way. I don't know, I think maybe the yellow and green on her bag are kind of throwing me off, to be honest. This design has so much potential to be so cute, but I feel like something is definitely just like off somewhere, I don't know. Thinking about it a little bit more, I think it's probably the shade of yellow and green that they use in the bag and on her shoes. Those particular shades of yellow and green feel kind of like gross. I don't know, I feel like it doesn't really match the vibe of her base outfit. So it might just be a case of the accessories just kind of messing up the vibe of the base. I don't really know, something is just kind of off to me. I really want to like this one, but something is just not allowing me to. So unfortunately, this version of May is defeated. The next game on our list is Diamond and Pearl with Lucas. I have a little bit of a love-hate relationship with this design. On one hand, I like his pants a lot. They have a great baggy style to them. They feel very hip, dare I say. They feel really like on trend and on style for the time, and I think it's a very timeless style. I think loose fitted baggy pants will always look good. His scarf is also really cute, and I don't mind his shoes or his vest. They also don't really stand out that much, and they are not like super amazing or groundbreaking, which is okay. Simple can still be good. Overall, it's a pretty good design. I like the flow of his scarf. It adds some dimension to the outfit. It's definitely a case of a simple but effective outfit, so I am going to give Lucas a victory. And then with Dawn, I literally love almost everything about her design. This is definitely not a unique take or anything. I think everybody reveres Dawn as super well dressed. Her black vest paired with her white blouse under is just so stylish. And then similarly with Lucas, her thin scarf adds so much fashion to the design and takes it away from just being a sporty look into something a little bit more casual and wearable. The two different shades of pink that she's wearing add a lot of character, and I think they mix really well with the black and white and add so much visual harmony to her clothing choices. All I have to say is boots. Dawn is one of the only characters wearing boots instead of sporty shoes, and I love it. I think it looks so good. I think her boots are one of the main highlights of her design. They just look so good. I really like what they say about her character and how they kind of change the direction of trainers in a way that feels authentic and purposeful and not just a change for changing's sake. The one gripe that I have with this design is that I just don't like her hair, and I don't really like her hair clips either. Her hair clips are fine, but I do think that her hat doesn't really fit in very well. I just think it throws off the design just a little bit. I think we can all agree with confidence that Dawn deserves a victory. I have to say, with Platinum Lucas, I don't really like his design as much as his Diamond Pearl design. I think the scarf is really cute, but I don't know. I think maybe his jacket feels kind of wonky. I appreciate how they maintain the baggier pants kind of design identity. I think that the jacket is just throwing it off for me. It feels a little bit too bland and styleless for me. I don't know. Something about it just feels a little funny. I really like the pants, but when I look at this, I just feel kind of like, I feel like nothing. I just don't feel like there's a lot of style there. So I am gonna give Platinum Lucas defeated. This next one needs no introduction. Platinum Dawn is definitely one of the very best. Dawn honestly has one of the most successful fashion evolutions of a character, not only in the Pokemon series, but in general. Her shoes are very similar to her first design, but also slightly different. The pieces they selected for her to wear here feel really in character, yet still different, and share a similar general silhouette to her first design. The evolution of her fashion choices, like I said, are so successful because it truly feels like more clothes out of the wardrobe of the same character. Instead of rehauling her and giving her a new identity, they kept Dawn's personality and identity and built upon it and put her in clothes that really feel like she picked out something else and put it on. Her outfit here is super wearable, really chic, really girly and fashionable and fun. It has a great attention to detail and obviously a victory. And then for Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, I'm just gonna lump Lucas and Dawn together. I am both gonna give them the victory because the designs are the same as Diamond and Pearl, just with slightly different character models, obviously. I just want to mention that even though I'm giving him the victory because it is essentially the same design, I do really dislike the character model for Lucas. I think Dawn looks perfectly fine, but for some reason Lucas like lost his aura or something. This has nothing to do with the outfit, so it's still a victory in my book, but something about Lucas just feels like hollow, like a shell of his former self. Am I the only one that feels this way? I feel like Dawn looks fine, like I said, but something about Lucas just feels like they got rid of his like aura and riz. Like I don't know. I feel like Lucas looked kind of boyish in a good way, and then now he looks a little bit like girly, which is not a problem technically, but I feel like it's a weird interpretation from his initial designs and they kind of lost his vibe as a person. I don't know. Maybe I'm the only one that feels this way. Let me know what you think. I feel like something funny happened here. In Black and White, our next male player character is Hilbert. Starting with Hilbert, I noticed this shift towards making blue the new trainer color instead of red. I'm not really a fan of that new direction, but I guess that's just my own personal taste. But anyways, I don't love or hate this design. I think it's just like lukewarm. It's not a bad look by any means, but I also think it's just nothing really special. Simple by any means does not necessarily mean bad, so I am going to give Hilbert the victory. It's a very color blocked outfit with the blue, white, black, and red. It just feels like everything is compartmentalized into its own location. And the pants here do remind me a little bit of Lucas. I think it attempts to be sporty but casual at the same time. And I think it's a pretty fine attempt. Like I said, I think it's a little like lukewarm for lack of a better term, but I don't think it's bad or horrible by any means. I always really want to like Hilda's outfit, but I just can't find it inside of me. I don't know what it is. Her long white tank top with the black vest on top is really cute and casual and honestly something I would definitely wear myself. And then the shorts have these kind of ripped denim vibe with the long sticking out pockets. And it's definitely very fashionable, so I don't know why I don't like it, because if I just look at those things, I think it looks pretty good, but I also feel like it's kind of lacking in a really weird way. The best way I can explain it is just that something always feels missing in this design. Her laces, wrist warmers, bag, and hat are all matching, and I think that color cohesion is really nice and it flows very nicely. But I guess maybe the empty space of her legs, like not having long socks or anything going on there, maybe feels a little bit empty. I'm not really sure because Kris also had like empty leg space and I thought it was fine. I'm not really sure what it is about this design that I don't like. It could just be the lack of accessorizing because I'm so used to the female trainers having a lot of like pizzazz in their designs and accessories and details on their outfits. And this is a very simple and plain outfit. But then again, her shorts have that interesting like pocket rip detail. So that would be like the accessorizing. I don't know. I just don't know what to give her. I think I'm gonna give her defeated. I do want to give her the victory, but I feel like because there is something inside of me that looks at this and feels a little bit let down, I have to give her the defeated. And then in the sequel games, Black 2 and White 2, we have our male player character, Nate. Man, I don't know how to say this in a nice way. I have so many and so little thoughts about Nate at the same time. In a way, it's very similar to Brendan's design in Emerald, but just not as good. The darker desaturated blue paired with the aqua blue on his compression leggings and undershirt just don't really mesh together very well. I think it's an awkward color combination. Like I said, I'm not really a fan of the rebranding of blue as the new trainer color instead of red. So this might just be my taste coming through, but I honestly just think that it is widely acceptable that these colors of blue do not go together very well. I haven't really been talking about their bags because I consider it more of a utility item than part of the design per se, but I just want to say I think his bag is so stupid. It's just so ugly, honestly. I also have not really been talking about their hair, but his hairstyle is ridiculous with his little like visor tennis hat. I don't know. This outfit just has no style or cool aura about it. It just feels kind of like lame. I'm not a fan of it, so it is definitely defeated. Some of y'all are not gonna be happy with this, but I'm just gonna accept that. I think that Rosa is a total miss. I know that the community loves Rosa for various reasons. I just think that she's wearing an outfit for a toddler. The more pastel color palette is cute and new, but I think it's just done in a boring way. I don't know. I like her pink halter top under her shirt and the bow is really cute on the back, but the low-rise poofy yellow shorts on top of the stark black leggings is just no. I tried my best to defend this outfit in any way that I can. Like, I do believe that the individual pieces are cute, just not when they're paired together. Like I said, I just think this looks like a really infantile outfit. And while it can be like cute and girly and nice, I just don't like those pieces paired together. Like her black leggings immediately catch my eye. And I think it's so awkward that like I look at her and my eyes are immediately brought down and I'm not looking at like a whole design. I'm looking at her leggings, which interferes with the cohesiveness and definitely brings it down a couple notches for me because it just does not have a good flow. And I think the shape is kind of wonky as well. I do appreciate how the flowiness of her shorts kind of matches with the high top kind of folded over part of her sneakers. They both kind of come out and feel flowy, but it is just not enough for me to say that I think it deserves a victory. Moving on to X and Y, I will admit that I initially never really cared for Calem, but while reassessing him for this video, I do have to say that he has grown on me quite a bit. Calem is wearing a structured newsboy cap with sunglasses on top, and it has a steampunk-esque vibe. This is especially true with his hairstyle, which I think is really great and I really like it. His sweater is alright. I don't think it's anything amazing. It shares the same circular motif around the collar alongside many of our previous trainers, which is a nice attention to detail, and I'm glad they carried that on throughout the characters. I quite like his pants. I think they fit really nicely. I am usually biased against slim or skinny pants, but I think these, for some reason, are pretty stylish. I think they fit him. He has a very like sleek, slender kind of design. identity, and I think the long pockets contribute to this kind of lengthening silhouette that he has, and I think they look pretty stylish. And he is also another character that is wearing boots. And I love the boots here. I think they pair really nicely with his jeans. I think the jeans being tucked into the boots is perfectly fine, looks really great. And I think this also shares the same kind of steampunk tactical vibe as his hat and glasses do. Even though I'm not in love with his sweater, I think it feels cohesive. It has a kind of mature, boyish vibe going on. It's simple but stylish, and I think this is a victory. And our female player character, Serena, also shares some of the steampunk-esque motifs. Her detailed high-waisted skirt with the buttons and pockets feels really tactical and detailed and just really pretty. I would even dare to say that Serena has almost a twee vibe to her outfit with her collared blouse and the persimmon colored skirt and long thigh-high socks. To make short of it, twee is a very girly, feminine, and whimsical kind of fashion style. This is an obvious and quick victory. I am not going to talk about it too much because I think the outfit just talks for itself. It's so fun, it's so stylish, and very visually stimulating. Moving on to Sun and Moon, we have our male player character, Elio. I quite like Elio's hair, but that's about it. I do appreciate the nautical and beachy vibes of his striped blue and white top with the kind of circular Pokeball round shaped gap in the stripes, which is a common design motif in a lot of player characters. But the shorts. Let's talk about the shorts. Ugh, they just destroy everything that was good. I'm not gonna rag on his shorts for too long just for the sake of time, but they look like socks. I don't know. It just looks like underwear. The buttons are weird. The fly is weird. The hems and the pockets are weird. I don't know. They're just funky looking. I don't know. They look like pajamas. I don't even know. It just doesn't match anything else that is going on there, and I think it just breaks up the cohesion. I don't know. I guess it kind of flows together, and I just don't like them. I just have a problem with like guys in capris, I think. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I just don't like it. I will say that I do believe that his water shoes are quite cute though, and I think they're very on theme. And I like the little black baubles, which tightens him up at the ankle. I think that it's not too bad if we're gonna be honest about it, and I'll put aside my own opinions. But I do think that the capris kind of throw off the entire harmony of the design. So I am gonna say that Elio's outfit is defeated. And then I have to say with Selene, I literally do not understand this outfit. Don't get me wrong, fashion is not supposed to make sense. It's not about making sense. It's about being creative and expressing yourself and expressing a concept and idea, especially with character designs in video games. But I think that this outfit is just so all over the place. I don't love her shorts or her blouse. Like they're fine enough, but then they paired them with these bright red chunky shoes and a beanie. There is like absolutely no color harmony in this design at all. The styles of the clothing and the colors just do not flow together. Like at least with Elio, there was color consistency between the pieces and they somewhat felt like they went together. I don't know. But with Selene, it's like her shirt and pants feel like they're from a completely different outfit than her beanie and her boot shoes. I don't even know. Like those are not even water shoes. I don't even know what those are. Her shoes and hat just don't feel like they match up with the beachy adventuring identity. Maybe she's dressed more as like a hiker, but then her blouse and shorts feel like beachy boardwalk wear. I don't know. I don't know what they did here. I think this outfit is definitely defeated. In UltraSun and UltraMoon, we are reunited with Elio, and I don't really know exactly what to say about this. I don't think it's the worst outfit design ever. I think I feel just about the same about this design as I did with his Sun and Moon design. Maybe I would say I even liked Sun and Moon a little bit more. I don't think it's the worst design ever, but I definitely don't like how they mix the different colors of blue again. It's just not appealing to me. I feel like it creates a lot of visual dissonance, and I I don't think it flows together very nicely. I am not really a fan of the rash guard leggings under the swim trunks either. I think it looks kind of lame. I get that it's like active and convenient and, you know, works for what he's doing in real life, but I think it looks bad. Similar to a lot of other trainers, this design is very active with a beachy twist on it, which is pertinent to the world of Sun and Moon, but in a very casual and unfashionable way. I think they could have gone about it in a better way. I just don't like the vibes of Elio in this game. I don't know. It's just like, fine. So I am gonna give UltraSun, UltraMoon, Elio defeated. I'm on the fence about it because I think it could be worse, but I don't love it. And I think other characters that have gotten a victory deserved it a lot more than he did. So his fashion choices are definitely defeated. They really cleaned up Selene's act in UltraSun, UltraMoon. She looks pretty good here, actually. They successfully made her beachy casual, but still stylish all at the same time here. Her water sandals with the high ankle straps look really nice, and they also are practical and tactical and make sense for somebody who is going to be adventuring and going through a lot of rough terrain and hiking and Pokemon training and catching. I appreciate how the green-blue color on her sandals also match with the leaves of the flower on her hat. Going to her tank top, I feel like it is really tropical and beachy, but falls somewhere in between that really sweet spot of casual and active wear at the same time. It is comfortable, lightweight, and beachy, but also cute and fashionable and stylish at the same time, which is something that we've seen a lot from the female trainer characters, and I'm happy that they brought it back with Selene here. The busy pattern of the top actually pairs very well with her plain white shorts and matches the flower on her hat, and I really like how they have a lot of color harmony here. The white on the shirt of the stem of the flower matches her shorts, matches her shoes, it also matches her hat, and I feel like the use of color here was done very well. It's really cute, and while I'm not a fan of this particular styling, I do not think that it's objectively poor in composition at all. So while I wouldn't personally gravitate towards this kind of character design, it looks good. It's cute. I think it is objectively nice. So I am going to give Selene a victory. Technically, our next mainline title game is Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, so we're going to be talking about Chase. First of all, I want to say his Great Ball themed sneakers are amazing. I think they're so cute and funny, and I just think it looks cool. I really like his jorts. I think they look cool. And then he has this slightly cropped, tight-fitted active zip up with a black tee under, which also looks really cool. I feel like he has a lot of good aura, which is not something that I can exactly explain. I think certain fashion choices just kind of emanate a certain vibe, and I think that the vibe that these pieces pair together is really good and cool and makes Chase into a really cool character. This is a great example of something stylish but active and practical done right. I'm not really going over the character's physical appearances in this video, but I will say that I really like his hairstyle, and I think it adds a lot to the vibe of his design in general. Chase's design is a victory in my book. Elaine just looks very Walmart kids section. I feel like this might just be another case of me not liking the aqua blue color that they've been using consistently in a lot of characters, but I just feel like there's a lack of harmony between her clothing pieces as well, besides just the color choices. The blouse that she's wearing is fine enough. It does kind of feel like normie core Walmart clothing section, which is not a problem. I mean, if you like that, you like that, that's okay. It just feels very basic with a lack of attention to detail. I could also just not like this era of fashion. This is kind of an era where dressing very plainly and normally was normalized and then incorporated by fashion brands to market to general audiences as something that they thought they would like and something that's very accessible. But as a character design in a game, I don't like this particular perspective on character design. There is just no structural or color flow to the shorts or the shoes either, and I just feel a lack of like harmony between the design. Which is not to say that something needs to be like matchy-matchy for it to look good. I just feel like, I don't know, it feels a little bit like I went to a department store and like picked out like random stuff at the kids section and called it a day. So I do feel that Elaine's outfit is defeated. Our next male player character from Sword and Shield is Victor. In spite of probably sounding quite extreme, I have to say I despise this design, and I'm not really exactly sure why, because besides that disgusting hipster ass hat that he's wearing, the pieces aren't ugly by any means. I will say I really like the brown casual shoes and the flannel plaid pouch on his pants pocket, but also like what Victor feels like a poor attempt at a hipster design and just feels basic and sloppy, and it's just a little too different from the game's pre-established design identity for me to accept it. Victor does not feel cool by any means. He feels kind of sloppy, kind of boring, kind of like annoying. Like he looks like he would be an annoying guy if you talk to him. So I have to say that his design is definitely defeated. Like there's no question for me there. Now Gloria is actually really cute. I like her plaid socks a lot, and I really like how it matches Victor's pocket design and ties them together as a duo. And I love her boots too. I really like when they put characters in boots. It is by far one of my favorite design choices in the series. I do want to say that I don't particularly like how Victor and Gloria's color schemes are so different. The more magenta red dress is really cute and looks really good for Gloria and matches wonderfully with her evergreen beret and her socks. But just like Victor, it doesn't feel very Pokemon or Pokemon trainer, and it doesn't match very well with Victor. Which, not to say that the male and female character need to match, but I do feel a big dissonance between their designs. I will say that despite this, her and Victor do have the same kind of aura that I can't exactly explain. They feel very earthy, lumberjacky with their like plaid green design. I don't know, they have the same kind of aura, but I'm not exactly sure what it is. It feels like kind of German, European, outdoorsy, woodsy, especially with Gloria's beret and her wooden toggle buttons and the fisherman knitted sweater that she has. It feels very Irish, Scottish inspired. So I'm still gonna give Gloria the victory simply because I think the design is cohesive, stylish, and really fun to look at. Her cozy knitted sweater is really cute, and I appreciate that it is the same knit as Victor's hat. It's just too bad that his hat is so ugly. And then with Legends Arceus, we move into something completely different, and I think this is one of the coolest gimmick designs in the entire series. Rei's outfit is based off of traditional Japanese clothing. His top is a happy coat, and on his feet he has woven Miraji sandals and an obi sash around his waist. I'm a big fan of the dark blue gradient with the subtle yellow and red accents. It looks so good. Before we move on to Akari, the female player character, I am going to say that I'm going to give Akari and Rei both the victory. Their designs are really similar. There's just a little bit of like gender differences between their fashion choices, but they both deserve a victory in my eyes. Like I said, Akari is very similar to Rei, just a feminine version, and I really like this design interpretation as well. And I think I like Akari's design just a little bit more than Rei's. She has a beautiful knotted obi sash around her waist that holds her item pouch, and these really awesome white Kyahan leg gaiters paired with her Waraji sandals that just adds another element of tactical wear to the design and just really elevates it, in my opinion, to something more suited for an adventurer and somebody who is out on the field doing active stuff and fighting and battling Pokemon and catching them and, you know, doing quests and tasks. In comparison to Rei's cap that reminds me a lot of Lucas's hat, Akari is wearing a Tsunugi bandana that just adds another layer of tradition and history to her design and pairs really well with her Kyahan gaiters. For Scarlet and Violet, I'm going to talk about Florian and Juliana together because they are wearing the same exact outfit. I'm not so crazy about it. I think it might be my least favorite of all the designs. It's just kind of lame. So I'm gonna say right off the bat that these outfits are definitely defeated. I don't know if this is selfish of me, but I want to be a cool Pokemon trainer, not some unstylish twerp. I get that it's a uniform. It's just a bad uniform, to be honest. No, but seriously, I just don't really like anything that's going on here. I can appreciate in Violet the brown casual shoes that they're wearing as compared to the black sneakery shoes in Scarlet. I think the Violet shoes are definitely a better choice, but I can't even begin to understand this outfit. Like the polo shirt with the tie paired with like swim trunk looking shorts with laces on the waist look so bad. They look so bad. I don't know what went wrong here. And then the socks are just like weird. I don't even think I need to explain myself. I think you'll understand perfectly what I mean when I say I don't like it, because I don't think anybody likes it. Very last on our list, we are going to talk about ZA. Even though it is unreleased, we have been shown all of the character designs for the game. So the last characters that we're going to be talking about today are Paxton and Harmony. I'm glad to see that we've stepped away from the what I call babyification of the player character that we've been seeing since Sun and Moon. Paxton feels very mature and cool, and like we're backtracking to early game designs where we actually got cool male characters, which I personally really prefer, and I think it is the correct direction for Pokemon player designs. I actually did not really care for the ZA designs when they were initially announced. I'm also kind of just a hater, and when I'm shown something new, I generally don't like it and then it needs some time to grow on me. But I will say that Paxton has definitely grown on me very quickly. It's even to the point where I can say that I actually really like him. First of all, I want to say that I really like his hairstyle. I think it's really cool. I know I don't really mention the character's physical features or their hair much in this video. I just think that Paxton's hair is pretty pertinent to his design here, so I just wanted to throw that in. The whole Zygarde green, black, and red color combo is really fresh and new. It kind of brings me back to when they did green, red, and black with Brendan and May. I'm so glad that they brought that back. I really like that color combination, and I like the moving away from the blue. Like only Paxton's belt is blue, which I think is a nice inclusion of blue, but I don't think that blue is working for the player characters, honestly. The fit of his pants are really flattering, and I think they're a nice mix between fashionable and active, and the gray details on the otherwise black pants also remind me of design choices they made with Brendan. If I had to pick out something, I would say that I don't particularly love the hat, but I don't think it's particularly bad. I'm kind of like still on the fence about that. I'm still deciding my opinion about it. But in general, I think the flow of this outfit is great. The fit and design identity is very consistent throughout, and it definitely makes sense for a game that's taking place in a more modern city European setting. So Paxton definitely can go home with a victory. While I was kind of iffy about Paxton at first, I will say that I did really like Harmony from the get-go, and I like the change of direction that they're making with the female player character. I feel like the past couple designs, especially since Rosa, have been pretty like infantile or babyish, and I appreciate a more mature design direction. And a lot of people will probably say, well, Pokemon's for kids and their main player base is children, and they want to appeal to a new generation. But to that, I say that Pokemon has always appealed to children, and they were making really cool and fashionable and sleek and chic characters before. A bit off topic, but definitely pertinent to the designs that we looked at today. I am not really a fan of when quote unquote children's media makes things overly simplified or babyish or, I don't know, very childish because they're trying to appeal to a children's audience. I think that this is harmful. I see no purpose for it, and I don't understand why we equate children and like babyish things with simple and like elementary. I don't understand why we can't make things that are advanced and educated and layered and detailed for children. I think there is a lot of benefit in showing these kind of things to children and not just automating to very simple and elementary designs for them. So back to Harmony, I really appreciate her white and red hat a lot more than Paxton's gray and black one. I do like that they gave them the same kind of hat and just changed the color scheme, but I do think that the white and red color combo feels a bit more Pokemon to me and feels a little bit more in line with the design identity of the series in general. But I do appreciate how Paxton's black and gray hat makes him a little bit more masculine and edgy. So I can understand it. I just appreciate a good Pokeball hat imagery. I really like how Paxton and Harmony have a matching upper half with a similar shirt and matching jacket. And I appreciate that they feminized Harmony's shirt and didn't just give her a plain white tee like Paxton, and they gave her a fitted tank top. That reminds me of earlier Pokemon games where a lot of the female characters were wearing tight fitted active workout shirts. And this just kind of reminds me of that, maybe in a little bit more of a casual way, which like I said, fits the city setting of this game a lot more. I don't know about you, but I am personally celebrating the revival of loose fitting pants in the player trainer design rotation. I am so glad to see them back. These pants are very European and remind me a lot of like Holland, Amsterdam style, and overall just very femininely European in a very modern and new wave kind of way. I'm sure we can all agree that Harmony's outfit really is deserving of a victory. All right, so that was a lot of player characters. I'm sure this video is probably like pretty long, so thank you for sticking around until the end of the video, and I would love to hear your thoughts about the player trainer characters. Let me know who your favorite is, who your least favorite is, and what you think about their designs in general, and why you like your favorite ones or why you hate your least favorite ones. I normally make more educational fashion history based videos on the channel rather than fashion commentary, but I did have a lot of fun sharing my opinions on these designs. I couldn't help myself, so I definitely did throw in a little bit of fashion history here and there, but I hope you enjoyed the video and I will see you guys next time. Bye.